Right, Unno School, March 31st, joined by Unno-san. And we have been discussing about productivity. And productivity is not a very easy concept. So basically, a very brief recap of what is productivity. So what we have been looking at is the past. In history, when we looked at the Industrial Revolution, we saw a very high economic growth that was actually resulted from a dramatic rise in productivity. And but what is that productivity? Because we are on the verge of a new technological revolution with IoT, biotech, artificial intelligence. These are all very promising technologies, and will it lead to a new wave of economic growth? Well, that is to be determined. That you can only decide that if you know what it will do to productivity. So looking at productivity, basically first the definition. What is productivity? Productivity is the output per unit input. So if I work 1 hour, how much more can I produce? That is the definition of the rise of labor productivity. So what did we see about productivity and wages in the recent past? That we saw that up until around the early 1970s, there was a very close correlation between productivity growth and wage growth, and then we saw that the productivity was still increasing, but the actual median income of families was lagging behind. What was going on? Now we have been talking about this. But basically, what happened is that company profits went up because the productivity went up, but we didn't need more labor. We didn't need to pay people higher wages. Basically, for example, through the process of outsourcing your production from country A to low-cost country B, you would be able to actually get cost advantages, and those cost advantages did not go to the workers. Obviously, they went to the people who owned the companies, who owned the means of production, the capital owners. So there was a discrepancy in the rise of productivity and the median income. So we saw that also in this graph, that the share of labor in business is reducing at the cost of a higher capital share. Another problem that we observed is that actually there is relatively low productivity growth in the recent years. And why is that? Economists have come up with all kinds of possible reasons for that. Innovation has slowed down. Venture capital has retreated in recent years. Basically because the economy is not doing well, we're not investing a lot, and because we're not investing a lot, we are not becoming much more productive. Companies are not investing in training for their staff, etc., etc. But it's not really convincing. So what is really happening? And we found a more convincing explanation from Paul Samuelson. And he says, okay, well, basically we are in a transition period. That means that there are companies that are very innovative, that are very productive, that come up with technology and ways of working that are innovative, and these companies actually are very productive. They also make high profits, but they are just the front runners. The rest of the economy is still playing catch up. So one example is the retail industry. In the retail industry, we saw Amazon. They got a very firm leading position in online retail and e-commerce, and what we see is that Amazon has a high productivity, has good profitability, but at the same time online sales of in retail is only 7.3% of the entire online resales. So what we are seeing is that the established retailers like Walmart, what they have been doing is they are scared that they in the future will lose out their position to Amazon and other companies like Amazon, and they've been investing also in their online presence. So Walmart now also has an online retail store, but the profitability of Walmart has not increased, not at all. And like Walmart, there are other retailers who have basically expanded their existing channel, the stores, with online presence. And this is a cost duplication. That means that companies like Walmart, companies other like Costco, they have not become much more productive with the new technology. Basically, they are just forced to duplicate their efforts, and this cost duplication actually doesn't lead to increase in productivity, but for the entire industry, for the entire retail industry, it actually means that probably there is not a productivity increase at all. It's just the leader, the early innovator, who is capable of increasing its productivity, while the rest of the industry is lagging behind. Now, what other industries do we see this? For example, newspaper publishing. They have the offline print and the online print. The telecommunications, where we have the cellular network next to the traditional landline network. So for the economy as a whole, these disruptions are not immediately taking effect because there are existing infrastructures, there are vested interests, and they do not change from one day to the next. So the reason why we are seeing such a slow uptake in productivity is that this productivity gains is only bringing benefits to the new players, the people who are the early innovators. These companies are capable of getting dramatic productivity gains, and the rest is just playing catch up, and they need to invest in order to maintain their position without actually becoming more profitable. So that is a much more plausible explanation as to why we don't see a lot of productivity growth in the near future. Now, what we're going to discuss next is what does that mean for Japan. Japan has a lot of incumbent industries with doing business in a traditional way. What will these new technologies that are coming in from Japan and also from overseas, what will this mean for the existing industries? Will they be able to adapt? Will they be able to benefit from the potential productivity growth? Or will they also have to go through a period of transition and actually have higher costs and lower profitability? Because if that is the case, and we put that against the demographic developments, and maybe things do not, the new technology in terms of GDP growth is not as promising as we might expect at first sight. So so much about productivity. I think it's time to move on and leave productivity behind and move on to the next topic. Is that okay?
Yeah, summarize cost of overlap.
Right.
Again, overlap.
Yeah. Okay, so the cost of overlap, basically it means that it takes time for an industry to move from one infrastructure to the next. There are innovative new companies that bring new technology that can do things much smarter, much faster at lower costs. And these companies, but they are able to disrupt somehow, but they are also only minor players in the entire industry. So take Amazon. Amazon is an important company. Everybody's looking at Amazon. Everybody's afraid of Amazon. But Amazon only accounts for a small percentage of the entire retail industry. The reality is that everybody else is not growing. So Amazon, using like innovative new technology, is using innovative new business model, is successful doing that. but their profits, their gains in productivity are basically being nullified by all the other companies that are lagging behind.
But what does mean overlap? But it doesn't mean overlap.
It means that it will take time for companies to adopt, to write off their old infrastructure and to build up the new infrastructure. So that means that during that transition time, we are actually increasing our costs. That means that even though there is new technology, it will take time before there is mass adaptation.
Yeah, I understand. But what does mean overlap? This meaning overlap is overlap.
Overlap means that, for example,
Overlap, right?
yes. So
What-
a newspaper company needs to maintain their online presence plus their paper presence. They cannot just say, "Oh, let's just get rid of all the newspapers, all the physical newspapers," because that's where most of the
You
revenue
mean
comes
transition?
from. The transition period.
Okay, go ahead. Move on.
Yep. And there is oil. Too. What? But what?
What?
I don't know what I wrote here. And there is oil to put the brakes on further. To put the brakes on further. Sorry, it's not but, to put. This is not a B but a P. So what we see is that we have the incumbent industries and the industries that are going through transitions that basically put a brake on the potential for economic growth. But we also have
Why oil?
oil. While oil, an excellent question.
Mm.
はい、皆さんこんにちは、雲野です。今日はですね、雲野塾の研修のプログラムをご紹介したいと思います。で、こういうふうなホームページありますけれども、ぜひですね、一度中身をご覧になっていただきたいと思います。今日はブーキューブさんのスタジオに来て、この収録をしておりますので、中身はこういうふうになってて、今最近ホットなね、グローバルリーダーの定義など書いてあります。で、特に経団連が作成しました留学すれば英語ができて専門性を持つというだけではですね、グローバルリーダーになれないとここに書いてありますようにですね、仕事ができる、専門性を持つ、英語ができるだけじゃなくてですね、私どもの塾ではリベラルアーツということ、それからもう一つは孫子の兵を、さらにはですね、日本の歴史というものを合わせて教えることによって、皆さんが海外の欧米の方々と、もしくは華僑圏の方々と正々堂々と渡り合えるような人物を育成しようというふうなことを考えています。ここに次のスライドが出ておりますけれども、ここに書いてありますのはですね、さらに、私どもの雲野塾の中身につきましてはですね、欧米の資料しか使っておりません。また実際に雲野塾は英語でやっておりますので、英語の講師がこう話しておりますけど、学習はですね、日本の歴史をまだ教えて